channel. So today I'm going to be doing a quick unboxing and tour of the Realme 8 5G. This is another budget phone from Realme, but it has a benefit of offering 5G support, so you've got plenty of future-proofing there. So I'm just going to have a quick look through at the design, the camera and the UI, just to see if it's worth your money. Is it worth splashing out some money to Realme for this phone? So let's get to it. Okay, so here we have the Realme 8 5G in the usual bright yellow Realme box. So you've got Realme 8 5G on both sides and on the front. Side note, I'm in a different location, so it is very echoey here, so I do apologise, and I will try and be as clear as possible. So if we just lift the lid of the Realme 8 5G, on the top you get your standard welcome packet, which contains your clear case and your paperwork and your SIM ejector tool. Underneath that you get your phone, so that's the Realme 8 5G. Get to that in a second. And then underneath that, I've just dropped something on the floor. You get your power brick and your USB-C charging cable. So you don't get any headphones in this box, but to be honest, it's not the end of the world. So here we have the Realme 8 5G. I've got it in what they call the supersonic black color, but it is also available in supersonic blue. So there we go. It's quite a nice phone. So you've got 48 megapixel triple camera setup on the back. It is just a triple camera setup, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And then on front, you've got your display there. On the bottom, you've got your USB-C port, your headphone jack, and your speaker grill and microphone. And then on the top is completely clean. On the right hand side, you've got your power button with your integrated fingerprint sensor. On the left, you've got your volume rocker and your SIM tray, which can also house a micro SD card. Okay, so here is the Realme 8 5G. Now, of course, for anyone who's used a Realme device before, this is all going to look very familiar. So if we just quickly jump into the settings, just to see about phone. So as you can see, Realme 8 5G, it's running Realme UI version 2.0, which is based on Android 11. I've got the 4GB RAM model with 64GB of internal storage, and this is running the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor, and everything is pretty smooth. One of the first things I do is go into the display and brightness settings and turn dark mode on, so everything is a bit easier on the eyes. And then also while I'm there, if you go into more, screen refresh rate, and then set that to 90. It was set at auto select by default, but I always like to put it on 90, and then everything is much smoother, flipping between the apps and everything like that. As for the screen of the Realme 8 5G, it's a 6.5 inch Full HD Plus IPS LCD display with a resolution of 2400 by 1080 with a pixel density of 405 pixels per inch, and of course it has that aforementioned 90 Hz refresh rate. So like I said, everything's going to look very familiar. If we jump into the camera settings, so as you can see, it's a triple camera setup which consists of a 48 megapixel main sensor, and then you've got two 2 megapixel macro and depth sensors. It is very unfortunate that there isn't an ultra wide, but again, it's one of these budget smartphones that sometimes they include them and sometimes they don't, and obviously in this case they haven't included it in here. And then obviously below those camera sensors you've got your LED flash. So in terms of the camera interface, it's just, you know, bog standard. You've got your normal mode there, and then you can click for a 2x or a 5x digital crop, which, just quickly snapping a photo, sorry, I've got to agree a couple of things. So yeah, as you can see, the quality on that isn't great, but being a digital crop, you can't really expect otherwise. You've got your portrait mode, which obviously uses that depth sensor to blur out the background. You've got a 48 megapixel high resolution mode, and then if you go into more, you've got slow-mo, time-lapse, your pro mode, panorama, text scanner, and ultra macro mode, which of course uses that macro sensor. And then you've got video mode, which if you go onto resolution, it tops out at 1080p, and then you can obviously drop it down to 720p if you want to. And then you can switch to night mode as well, so we'll test that out at some point as well. So if we flip the camera over, obviously aside from seeing my ugly mug, you've got a 16 megapixel camera on the front, again with video that tops out at 1080p. You can also do front facing portraits, panorama and time lapse, and then you've got night mode supported on the front facing camera as well. So you jump into settings, video mode resolution is 720p on night mode. So let me just flip it back to video resolution. So it defaults to 720p, but you can obviously bump that up to 1080p as well. Also inside the Realme 8 is a 5000 milliamp battery, and there's support for 18 watt fast charging, which isn't the fastest on the market, but it should still get your phone up to 100% in relatively good time. So that 5000 milliamp battery should offer some really good battery life. That coupled with the relatively low power draw of the MediaTek Dimensity 700 chip. So obviously that's something that we'll test out as well. In terms of everything else, I mean, you get your bog standard apps on here: Netflix, Facebook, Twitter, Amazon Prime. You've obviously got your stock weather and video apps. YouTube is on here. So, Amazon Music, Amazon Shopping, Booking.com, which I can bin off straight away because I don't think I'm ever going to use that. Twitter I can bin off as well because I definitely do not use that. So yeah, you've got your bog standard apps there, and then you've got your music app as well. Added one song apparently. Why does it keep scanning? What's going on? There we go. So it's obviously a Realme tune of some description. Let's see what the... So that's what the speakers sound like. It is just a single speaker on the bottom. There is no support for stereo speakers. Again, that's one thing that obviously some manufacturers like to add, others don't, like the Poco X3 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi 10T Lite. They both have stereo speakers, but in the case of the Realme 8 5G, there's no stereo speakers here. So that's just a quick look at the Realme 8 5G. I'll put my SIM card in it and I'll use it for around a week or so and give my full review, and I will then obviously say whether I think it's a good phone to have or not. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this little look at the Realme 8 5G, be sure to subscribe and turn your notification bell on so you're notified when I do a new video. So until next time, I'll see you in the next one.